Hey guys, I'm back. And remember, if you saw my other video about the new book that I got, I have the second new book for you guys. Um, Lucy's with me right now. She's excited too. She wants to know, hey, where'd you get all these new books? Want to say hi, Lucy? Say hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Okay, go sit down. Okay, so my friend Seth, I told you before, if you've been looking at my videos, my friend Seth loved the book Parts by Ted Arnold. So I went out and I found the two more on Amazon, and I read more Parts by Ted Arnold, and now I'm so excited. There's another one, and this one's even funnier. This one is called Even More Parts by Ted Arnold. This kid is really falling apart. Yep. Now, there are all kinds of things that people say to you, like a nose dive. Does your nose really take a dive? Or it breaks my heart. Does your heart really break over things? Or maybe, if somebody says, I'm losing my mind. Does that mean your brain's actually coming out of your head? It sounds funny, and sometimes you might think so, but it really doesn't happen. But this is the next book I want to read to you, and it's for my friend Seth, so I hope that he's watching out there, and I hope that he loves this one too. Like I said, brand new book smell. I don't even have my name on it yet. It just came in the mail, and I'm sure it's going to have some sticky pages because it is brand new. I'm so excited. I love new books. Okay, so this is called Even More Parts, Idioms from Head to Toe. And that's actually what we're talking about, is when we say things like, my brain's going to fall out, or I'm taking a nose dive, or it's breaking my heart, or I'm crying my eyes out. It's a figure of speech. It's a figure of speech. And in the fancy reading world, we call that an idiom. Idiom. And I know that might be a hard word to say, but that's what it means. When we have funny sayings like this, they're actually called figures of speech, called idioms. So let's start reading because I'm so excited. Sometimes I wish my stupid ears weren't always open wide. They hear such strange and crazy talk. I'm scared to go outside. I jotted down a list of all the scary things I've heard. Believe me, all of these are real. I wrote them word for word. To leave my bedroom unprepared, I'd have to be a fool. Excuse me now, there's work to do before I go to school. Look, he's getting prepared. He's got a toolbox out. He's writing some things down. All his toys are standing around and helping, kind of like in Toy Story, where the toys, stand around and help. Here's something he heard. I lost my head. Look at that. Where'd his head go? Look, it's over there. Have you ever heard that? I lost my head. And down here, the dinosaur, I don't know if you can see that, it's real tiny. The dinosaur says, it makes my head spin. And the little action figure guy, he says, I laughed my head off. Ha ha ha. And then the army truck says, my head is in the clouds. See? And this little top of him is in the clouds. Now, the second thing that he heard was, I keep changing my mind. Have you ever heard that? I probably say that all the time because I can never make up my mind. So I'm always changing my mind. But really, am I going from one brain to another? Or from this brain to that brain, changing my mind? The little cartoon, the little action figure down here, he says, I keep an open mind. And look, he took his head off and you can see his little brain sticking out. Look at the dinosaur says, my mind is wandering. Look, there's his brain right there. It's walking away. And look, army truck says, I lost my marbles. Look at all those little marbles. Have you ever heard that when somebody says, I'm losing my mind, or I must have lost my marbles? All the little marbles. Now, this is something a teacher usually says. I want all eyes on me. Does that mean you guys are going to throw your eyeballs at me? I hope not. That might be gross. All right, look. This guy, the dinosaur, he says, I cried my eyes out. Look at his eyes. His eyes bounced and is on back of the army tank. And it says, I have eyes in the back of my head. And here you go. Superhero guy, he says, my eyes are glued to the television. Does mom ever say that? Are you glued to that television? Ah, here's another one that's, my ears are burning. Ah! They usually say that. You'll say that if you think somebody's talking about you, or you walk into a room and say, oh, were you talking about me? My ears were burning. The army tank, he says, I'll give you an earful. And the little guy here, this action figure, he says, I'm all ears. If you look really close, he's got little ears all over him. And then Dinosaur says, lend me your ears. On the next page, oh my goodness, we go through a lot of this, don't we? Have a lot of allergies are going around. My nose is running. Does that mean your nose is jumping off your body and running away? Huh? Look at this, army tank. My nose is buried in a book. Look where his nose is. See his little tank thing sticking out there, and it's going into the book. That's where his bullets are supposed to come out. And then the superhero guy says, keep your nose out of other people's business. And the dinosaur, he says, I just follow my nose. Look where his nose is on the sandwich. Oh, have you ever heard of somebody say, I'm tongue-tied? I'm tongue-tied. That means you trip over your words, or you're stuttering, or maybe something's hard to say, like a hard word, like idiom. And you might go, oh, I can't say it. I'm tongue-tied. The army truck down here says, I just got a tongue lashing. What does a tongue lashing mean? That means somebody gave you a talking to. Look at the superhero guy and his little tongue. Look at his tongue over here. He says, whoops, a slip of the tongue. His tongue slipped out. And now he's slipping on it, I guess. And then the dinosaur says, I told 10 tough tongue twisters. Look at his tongue. Can you see that? It's all twisted. Oh, have you ever had somebody say, don't you give me any of your lip? Or maybe mama has said that if you got a little sassy pantsy. Maybe mama has said, don't you give me none of that lip, mister. Don't give me any of that lip. And look, his friend is giving him his lip. And it says down here, look, loose lips sink ships. That's the little army tank guy. And the superhero guy, he says, I zip my lips. Now, what does that mean? Zip my lips. That means you got to be quiet. You can't talk. Look at the dinosaur. My lips are sealed. When you say my lips are sealed, that means I'm not telling a secret. I'm not going to say anything. Now look at this. I have a frog in my throat. When you say I have a frog in my throat, that means you feel choked up, or like you need to go get some water, or maybe you need to cough to clear your throat. Down here, the dragon, he says, I have butterflies in my stomach. Now, what does that mean? When you have butterflies in your stomach, that means your stomach just doesn't feel right, and maybe you're nervous, or maybe you're scared and you feel kind of funny in there. And then the army tank, he says, cat got your tongue? The superhero guy, he says, no, I have ants in my pants. Look at the little ants. You ever had ants in your pants? Oh, this is a good one. I sang my heart out. He's singing, and he's in a play, and he's singing, and his heart fell out. Look, the dinosaur, he says, she stole my heart. And then this guy down here, he says, the superhero guy, he says, have a heart, and he's giving out hearts. When you say have a heart, that means, hey, be nice or be sympathetic to somebody. And then the army tank says, I have a heart of steel. I'm hard-hearted. Now, if you are a hard-hearted person, that means you're kind of mean. Like you don't really care about what happens to people. Uh-oh. This is a good one. My stomach is growling. I told Mr. Christopher this earlier. I said, I'm hungry. My stomach is growling. Does your stomach have teeth like that? Mine doesn't. Look, this little guy, he says, my fists are flying. What does that mean when your fists are flying? You're in a fight. They're not really flying off. Look, dinosaur says, my teeth are chattering. What happens when your teeth chatter? You're usually cold. Look at this. Army tank, he says, my tongue is wagging. Look, his little tongue's coming out. The next one says, please lend me a hand. Now, if you said, please lend me a hand, what does that mean? Am I really going to take off my hand and give you my hand? Or am I going to help you out? I'm going to help you out. I'm not going to give you my hand. Look, superhero guy says, I'm short-handed. Really, that means he doesn't have enough help. And the army tank, he says, you have a green thumb. No, 2 green thumbs. Miss Loomis does not have a green thumb. Actually, Miss Loomis usually has a black thumb. Ask your mom what that means. And then look, he says, I love finger food. And look, little tiny fingers. Would you eat little tiny fingers? Might taste like a little tiny hot dog. Oh, has mom ever said it cost an arm and a leg? Like if you say, I really want that new video game. I want that new Minecraft. I want that new Angry Birds. I want that new Sonic. And mom says, I can't. It costs an arm and a leg. Does she really have to pay with an arm and a leg? Man, if she did, Mama wouldn't have any arms or any legs, would she? Down here it says, I had to foot the bill. That means he gave his foot for the bill. Look at his foot over here on the table. And then, oh my goodness. Look at Superhero Man. He says, I had to pay through the nose. Look what's coming out of his nose. Money. Ew. I want money, but I don't think I want it to come through my nose. An army tanker, he says, try what I do. Put your money where your mouth is. And look, he's got money coming out his little bullet chute. There's money coming there. The next one says, I put my foot in my mouth. Oh my goodness. And we probably do this a lot. Putting your foot in your mouth doesn't mean, hey, give me my foot. I'm going to actually put my foot in my mouth. It means you say something wrong, but you really don't mean it. Like you say something on accident. You're like, oh, I put my foot in my mouth. I didn't mean to say that. But look down here, little dinosaur. He says, oops, I started off on the wrong foot. Army tank says, always put your best foot forward. Now, what is superhero guy doing? His feet aren't even attached. He says, I'm feeling footloose. Yeah, his feet are loose, aren't they? Oh, look at that. He says, I better toe the line. Look what he's doing. He's lining up his toes on a line. When you say, I want to toe the line, that means you're going to be on your best behavior. That means you're going to follow the rules and you're not going to do anything bad. You're not going to do something a little bad over here or a little bad over there. You are going to follow the rules and do exactly what mama and daddy say or exactly what teacher says. And look, superhero guy says, well, hey, here's a tow truck and look what he's got in there. He's got toes. He's got toes in his truck. That's a tow truck. Look at this. He says, that's not an idiom. And then tanker guy says, that's a pun. It made my skin crawl. Ooh, look. His skin is crawling away. Ugh. You know what makes my skin crawl? Snakes. I hate snakes. What if somebody says, I got all bent out of shape? Does that mean you really get all bent out of shape? When you say, I got bent out of shape, that means you got a little mad or you got upset or frustrated about something. And we all get frustrated. We all get bent out of shape and we just have to say, I'm sorry. I was having a moment. And you try to do better. Look, he's having a moment. Look, Dinosaur says, I couldn't keep a straight face. And Army Tank Guy says, hey, my nose is out of joint. Look at his nose. And Superhero Guy goes, hey, you twisted my arm. You see his arm's all twisted up there. Oh, have you ever heard somebody say, I went to pieces? Like if something bad happens, you might go, oh, I just fell to pieces. Look at him. He fell to pieces. Look at him. He's in pieces on the sidewalk. The dinosaur says, pull yourself together. And Superhero Guy, he says, I came unglued. He's all in pieces too. Army Tank says, hey, you've got guts. There are so many crazy things I have to keep in mind. I sure don't want to accidentally leave my parts behind. Mom says, dear, it's time for school. Let's go or you'll be late. Then Dad says, just remember, son. What do you think Dad's going to say? Dad says, keep your head on straight. And look how he's protected himself. He's got an armor, like knight in shining armor. He's got a suit of armor on to protect himself so none of his parts fall apart. I hope you like that. And I hope that Seth, I hope you were watching out there. I hope you guys like it. And I'm going to go order some more books because this is just too fun getting some new books. Maybe I should get a Spider-Man book. What do you think? A Spider-Man book. Maybe next time.